Yeah. And this is my understanding of steps 1, 2 and 3 presentation. Step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives would become unmanageable. Powerless for me is when I do something, I know that once I do that, let my addiction into my life, I'm fucked. That everything revolves around that, and I don't, nothing else matters. I'm totally powerless and it takes everything from me. So the disease of addiction to me, it's in 3 parts: mental, physical and spiritual. The mental part is isolation. I'm in my own head all the time. And I'm just, even when I'm sat with a room full of people, I'm just in there, it's just all over me. The obsession, all I do is, the minute I wake up in the morning, I'm just thinking about using, where am I getting my next hit from? Even the night before, I'm worried about next morning, I'm not obsessed about it. And the compulsion, even when I don't want to use, I still do it. Even though it causes me pain, I'll still do it. Then there's physical side of it. The hygiene, it's non-existent. When I'm using, if I need to get drugs, I don't think, I need a wash before I go out. I'm thinking, get there as fast as I can, get the money. My hygiene is fucked. The dependency, I'm stuck. I need it no matter what. It comes with everything. And my health issues, I've got COPD from it. I've been in intensive care about 3 times. I've got pneumonia 7 times or something. And it doesn't matter. None of that matters when I'm in that. Spiritually, I'm destructive, self-centered and dishonest. I'm dishonest as fuck around my family. I used to believe that I wasn't that bad because I didn't go to prison and that, but I was dishonest to my family. I used to lie to my family to get money. I used to lie to my missus to spend money. And destructive, everything I touch while I'm using is fucked. I don't do no right. I damage everything that I touch. Self-centered. The world revolves around me when I'm using, and I know it does. And I used to make plans with my mum and that, and if she didn't slot into the picture where I wanted to, I'd start arguing with her and get angry with her and shout at her, because it was all about me. Everyone around me had to serve me. I didn't serve no one other than myself. So the denial, I was in a lot of denial. I used to believe that I was okay using. I used to believe that I'm not that bad, and I can stop when I want, and it's not my fault. I used to believe I were okay using because I worked through a lot of my addiction, and at the end of work, I used to think I deserved that drug, and that was my God-given right. That I've earned this. I'm not spending all my wage on it. This is mine. I'm entitled to it, and I'm not that bad. I used to go sit in my cousin's house, and I'd be buying his drugs, and I'd think, I'm not as bad as him. He's a scoundrel. He's been in prison loads. I'm sat here. I've done my day's graft. I'm paying for his drugs. I'm all right. I'm not that bad. And I used to believe that I could stop when I wanted, because I used to trick myself into thinking that I didn't want to stop, that I was all right with it. And it's not my fault. I used to blame my parents and everybody else. I'd blame my missus if we had an argument, but I used to start them arguments on purpose, so that I could fucking run off and use, that I used to believe that. And in my head, it was all their fault. Unmanageability, external manageability, responsibilities, money, health and hygiene. I had no responsibilities. My only responsibility while I was using was to get drugs. That was my only responsibility. People had dropped responsibilities on me, but I couldn't do them. Like, I even remember going to pick my daughter up from school, and I was half an hour late for picking her up from school a few times, and I loved her, she was my life, but yet I was still late because the dealer was late. And in my head, that wasn't my fault, because it was the dealer's fault. But try and explain that to a school teacher, so no responsibilities. Money, my money wasn't worked out as in what bill should I pay. My money was worked out as in bags. It was, I've got 10 bags worth of money in my pocket. It wasn't worked out as in, I'm paying him and I'm paying that and I'm paying that. It was, that's for that and that's it. My health, like I said earlier, I've been so poorly through it all, and I just don't give a fuck. I was in intensive care once with my mum. I woke up and I told her to go scarf me or I'm leaving. I'll unplug out machines. Doctor said, if you unplug machines, you'll be dead within a day. And I used it against my mum, to get my drugs, because I wasn't bothered about my health. All I was bothered about was using. And hygiene, I've never had it. I've never had it when I was using. Internal, emotions, feelings, self-obsessed, mental health, and suicidal. I used to block all my emotions out, because I am an emotional person, I know I am. And I used to block them all out. And with regards to my feelings, I wouldn't go near anyone that I had feelings with, you know, because it'd draw them feelings up and I wouldn't be able to deal with them. I wouldn't want to deal with them, so I'd hide from people. You know, self-obsessed. I'm always self-obsessed when I'm using drugs. Everything revolves around me. My mental health, I've been put in mental health unit for 3 months. I was sectioned for 3 months because of my mental health. Because I thought, well, instead of trying to kill myself, but I didn't. I just thought I'd take that much drugs, you know, and I didn't try to kill myself, but made me fucked, and my mental health shot to shit. You know, I have these mad thoughts, and they're not right, you know, they're not normal, and that's through using drugs. And I have been suicidal many a time. I used to take my drugs, and it last bit of my drug, and then before I went to sleep, I'd think, I hope I don't wake up tomorrow. I really hope I don't wake up tomorrow, because it's the same thing. It's that Groundhog Day, innit? You know, it's just the same thing all over again. You know, some spiritual principles, surrender, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness and acceptance. You know, I've struggled with surrendering past me, and I've never wanted to do these steps because of these words, and they mean a lot to me. Surrender to me is giving in. You know, and I don't, you know, someone says to me, give in, that means lie on your belly and be tickled, and I don't like that, me, you know. Surrender to me is not having a go at it. But I've come to terms with me now that I have to surrender so that I can deal with that demon inside me, so that I can make this program work. I have to pull them bricks down so this can get into work for me. You know, and I am quite an honest person when I'm not using. I know I am, but it's one of the things, it's work in progress that. I know that that'll come, I'll get better at that as time goes on. Open-mindedness. I'm doing steps, you know, before I've been to meetings for years and years and never wanted to do steps because I was closed-minded towards it. I didn't want to take a look at myself. I'm studying it a day and I'm working it, you know, and that's me being open-minded and being willing. You know, I'm in here. That's why I came to Alicia Me, to be willing. I'm willing to do these steps because I've tried everything else, and I believe that I've seen this work for so many people. Acceptance. I've accepted that where I am today. You know, I'm here to do the steps and get on with life. You know, I want a better life for myself. So that's my first step. So step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So insanity for me is I won't use tomorrow. It'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'm better off on my own. It won't kill me. Doing the same thing time and time again and expecting a different outcome. You know, I used to always think I won't use tomorrow. I used to always put it off and think, I'll be all right. Do you know what? I can stop tomorrow. And I used to believe that, me. You know, and I used to say to my missus when I was with my wife and kids, do you know what? I'll just use this last once and I'll be all right. I won't do it again. Or I'd go to a dealer and I'd have 100 quid in my pocket. I'd buy 20 quid's worth. I think I'm not spending no more. And then 3 hours later, I'd have no money in my pocket. You know, and that's that, insanity. You know, believing I should have just gone and bought a lump at the beginning. You know, but in my head, I honestly did believe that I was just going to get that little bit. And that's what I believed. And then I keep going back buying little bits each time. When I should have just gone and got a lump at the beginning, if I'd have just accepted where I went up, but I didn't. I honestly believed that I could just have that little bit. You know, I'm better off on my own. I've always thought that while I've been using, that I was better off on my own. But I don't believe I am better off on my own. I just didn't want people to pull me on it. You know, I didn't want my loved ones to see how bad I was. You know, so in my head I tricked myself into believing that I was better on my own. You know, and it won't kill me. I fucking know it's killing me. It's killing me every day. You know, my COPD is getting worse. I've had pneumonia so many times. I've been on life support. It is killing me. Never mind, it won't kill me. It fucking is doing. And so, you know, but on the other side of that, I've got hope. That's where my sanity is. I do have hope. You know. So, a power greater. For me, a power greater is the fellowship, meetings, and other addicts. You know, that is a power greater than me. You know, a power greater than me with all kinds of things. Doctors, police, weather's even more powerful than I am. Universe and Mother Nature. You know, up until I came into EME, like, for me, I believe the highest power for me was me. You know, 'cause it's my head. You know, and I did believe that no one else could interfere with me as long as I believed in myself. You know, but that's so wrong. You know, restoring to sanity. I am being restored to sanity because I'm not using while I'm working through my steps. you know, and that is sanity to me. You know, I aren't using, and I'm here. You know, that's sanity. You know, I can't, we can. You know, I feel that talking to my peers around my thinking and thoughts helps restore me, and that does, you know, because when my head goes funky and I go off on a tangent, you know, I think talking to some certain people, I don't trust everyone, right? But I do talk to people, and that is me handing it over, and that's me asking, you know, restores me to sanity. You know, these are two paths I can choose. You know, I can either be in the problem here, where it's pain, death and misery, or I can be in this one here, solution, faith, hope and courage. You know, and that's my way out. Right, so my third step. So step 3, we made the decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Right, God to me, I struggled with the word God me for so many times. I've never done my steps in all 18 years and 19 years that I've been going to NA, right, because of God. And I don't believe in God, but you know, I know that this program can work for me if I overthink things because I'm quite intelligent. I think too much on matters, you know, and that's not good for me. Now, I just accept it now, that it's good orderly direction. So we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. So God, how I understand him, is good orderly direction. And, you know, making decisions, asking for help, and it's commitment. When you're asking for help, it's about committing yourself to that help that's been given. You know, rather than, because when I was using, my commitment was non-existent. The only thing I was committed to was getting drugs and using drugs. That was the only commitment I had. You know, whereas today, I do have commitment. I commit to gardening projects. I commit to being here. You know, I'm committed to my step work. You know, so self-will. I'm self-centred, manipulative, harmful, careless and destructive. Well, I spoke about self-centred earlier on. Manipulative. My mother was quite well off, and what I used to do was I'd plant a seed days in front, and then I'd nurture it for days and days and days, and then rather than just asking her outright and then she'd think, nah, that's a blag, I'd have planted this seed weeks before, so that when I came out to asking for it, it was ripe, and then I'd be input money. You know, and I did that. That's why I've never been to prison, because I manipulated my family and my mum, and really, well, quite badly really. I took hundreds of thousands of pounds off of them, you know, and harmful. Do you know, if I had to hurt someone or myself to get money, I would do. Do you know, I wasn't bothered. Do you know, that's all it were about. Careless. I wasn't bothered about rules, regulations or anything like that. I'd go out of the way and I didn't have no care for anybody. You know, so I was careless, destructive. I did anything I needed to do to get what I needed, and no matter how destructive it was. So, God's will. Caring, loving, selfless, trusting, honest and non-judgmental. You know, I am all of them things when I'm not using me. I know I'm a good person, there's a good person inside me. I am a loving person, and I am caring, you know, and I will help anybody I can, and I am selfless when at the right, but not all, I'm not all the time, but it's work in progress, isn't it? You know, it's about trying, you know, so my action around that is prayer and meditation. I struggle with that, if I'm honest, you know, but I say a prayer after every meeting. I go to a meeting nearly every night a week, but I do struggle around prayer, and I go to my meetings and do my step work, and I have connection with all lads, and I do talk to lads about my problems, you know, and that's where I hand it over, you know, that's where I am all over when I'm talking to people, you know, and asking them their views on stuff and to help me, you know, and then service I don't have yet. But step reading, that's what I'm doing now, you know. So for me, step 3, it's about doing the next right thing, you know. As long as I do the next right thing, I know the next right thing will happen for me, you know, and that's it really. And the spiritual principles are hope, trust, faith, courage. And the trust is turning it over, handing it over to you lads. When I talk to you or other people at meetings, I will speak to people, because I don't look up to a God as such. My higher power is the people in rooms. And I'm not going to go talk to a guy who's just coming off the street and ask him how to solve their own problems. I'm going to go to people, I've got a good head on my shoulders, I'll go to people that have got something I want, and I'll speak to them about it, you know. And I do have hope today. I hope that I can get this, you know. I hope that my life's there for me. And trust, I don't trust everybody, but you know, I'm learning. You know, I've had a lot of bad things happen to me in my life, so trust's a major thing. But it's work in progress, is that one. And faith, I do have faith today that I can do the next right thing and that I can live my life, you know, and be a good person. And courage, I'm stood up here in front of you, lot with my heart racing like mad, you know, that is courage, you know, I'm not comfortable, I'm really uncomfortable, so that is my courage, you know, so I'll just summarise them now, right. Step one is, I'm powerless, you know, that if I use, I'm fucked. You know, step two shows me that there is a solution, and step three is that I can't, we can, it's about asking for help, and that's it, lads.
Well done, Lee.